Crime wave in Gotham. Other breaking news. Water. Wet.
Coming up, more problems for a troubled
earthquake.
Yep,
We're having an earthquake.
Breaking into homes and tickling people.
Fans quickly trashed his pantsless look on social media.
Also, in other news,
the whistles go woo! He was murdered and then set on fire while celebrating his birthday.
He's on the lean and the model.
I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire.
He thought the car was a spaceship and that the driver was an alien.
He lost his life savings, $2,600, and all he has to show for it is this stuffed banana with dreadlocks.
This is in other news, where we touch on some things in sports, outside of sports, whatever we want, and you either like it or don't, and we don't care. So this was Rush Limbaugh a couple days ago, and this is a transcript of what he said on his show a couple of days ago. There is a desire to advance this climate change agenda, and hurricanes are one of the fastest and best ways to do it. You can accomplish a lot just by creating fear and panic. This is Tuesday. You don't need a hurricane to hit anywhere. All you need is to create the fear and panic accompanied by talk that climate change is causing hurricanes to become more frequent and bigger and more dangerous, and you create the panic. And it's mission accomplished. Agenda advanced. Now, how do you do this? Well, any number of ways. Let's take South Florida television, for example. There's a symbiotic relationship between retailers and local media. It's related to money. It revolves around money. You have major industries and businesses which prosper during times of crisis and panic, such as a hurricane, which could destroy or greatly damage people's homes. It could interrupt the flow of water and electricity. So what happens? Well, the TV stations begin reporting this, and the panic begins to increase. And then people end up going to various stores to stock up on water and whatever they might need for home repairs and batteries and all this, and they're advised to get. And a vicious circle's created. You have these various retail outlets who spend a lot of advertising dollars with the local media. He dismissed this in specific words, the hurricane, as a liberal hoax. It was announced today Rush Limbaugh will be evacuating his home in Palm Beach, Florida. And his words were, may as well announce this. I'm not going to get into details because of the security nature of things. But it turns out we will not be able to do the program here tomorrow. We'll be on the air next week from parts unknown. So he's going to have a fill-in for him because it's amazing the power of this hoax. That this hoax is so strong that it's driving him from his home in his home studio.
He better go north of Kentucky. That would be my advice at this point. So Sunday night, we got on late on the final word because of the Josh Rosen game, which was on Fox Sunday
night.
What a
game it was.
It was a great game. We didn't get on until, 11:30 or something in that neighborhood. So on the way in, the Kennedy was shut down outbound. I noticed 2 different places, 2 serious accidents. I think
I was 5 minutes behind one of the accidents, right by the split.
Okay, was that the motorcycle accident? Was that? Did you see a very
turned over SUV?
Did you see a group of fire trucks?
Not there
blocking?
yet.
Okay, well there were 2 different places where it was shut down.
2 separate incidents?
Yes, at the same time. It was shut down in 2 places. So I knew that, and before I left at 12:15, whatever.
2 words: Northwest Highway.
Well, I thought, I could take Milwaukee out of the city and then wind my way around. Or maybe I can also take the Eisenhower because that goes straight to 294 North, no problem. So I checked my phone. Sure enough, Kennedy is still shut down like 3 or 4 hours later.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, fine. I'll take the Eisenhower. No problem. Get on the Eisenhower, I'm flying. Not a car on the road. All of a sudden, I look up, brake lights. Everything stopped.
I would love to have been in the car.
And the Eisenhower is completely shut down. So I get off. Fortunately, I had room to get off. Last second. It was maybe around 17th or something like that. So all of us were winding our way on Frontage Road there, whatever it's called, and we get to the next entrance, and it's the Eisenhower is completely clear. There's no reason we couldn't get on at all, except it's blocked by 2 cops.
Oh.
So we all drive by and we all roll down our windows and say,
"Hey, officer,
can we just get back on it?" No, it can't. There was a shooting. Some guy got shot in the butt while changing a tire. But that's way back there. That's like miles back there. Couldn't we just get it? We're not going
shell casings.
We're not going to turn around and go the wrong way. Couldn't we just? No, I can't do it. So now we're still winding our way around, and I'm a big directional guy. Like I don't have one on my mirror. Like my wife has one that it says what direction you're. If I have that, I can figure anything out. My Bluetooth has died, so I'm trying to talk to Siri to get her to explain to me exactly where I am. Because some of these roads
Don't
are
you have Google Maps on your phone.
I'm driving,
so you can still glance at it.
You're not supposed to do that. Besides which, I'm in traffic.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get Siri to tell me where to go. Siri is not paying attention to me. Will not give me the directions I need. So we're sort of going in circles.
She's even saying stuff like, "Can't you see I'm watching a show?"
She's giving me recipes. So we had done so much driving in circles that I was a little turned around at that point. I could no longer find the Eisenhower as my bearing. And plus, we're going through neighborhoods, and now people are scattering. And this goes on for about 20 minutes. I truly have no idea where I am. So, but I finally...
Can't you just intuit your way to a major street? And
Yes, yes, I can. But I was not finding one.
Oh.
The longer I went, the worse it got.
And then you start doubting yourself.
Yes,
right?
Now, why can't I run into Madison or Washington or Mannheim or something? Or
something I've heard of.
I know I haven't crossed the Eisenhower again. So where am I? Turns out I was driving around Maywood and Bellwood.
Lovely.
I think.
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night. Now it's like 1:30. But here's the good news. On Mannheim, there was a White Castle.
So you slept there. You made a small encampment.
And it was really crowded. The drive-thru was really crowded. And there was one person working there. But I waited.
Good for you.
Another 25 minutes in line.
You're never lost if you found a White Castle.
And now I was on Mannheim, and I knew I was going north. So from there, it was easy. But that was...
I'm happy everything turned out okay.
Yeah, 2:30 I got home from a show that's supposed to go on at 10 and get me off at 10:30.
All right, I was certain that this was an old story. Like, why are they running this again? Because there was a girl on Island Lake, just north of Duluth, Minnesota, who had her foot mangled by a fish believed to be a muskie. She was sitting on a dock. She's dangling in the water, and she had a little, like a shiny anklet on, and a large muskie came up and ripped up her foot. So I said, oh, well, okay, we already saw this. However, this is the second time this summer it has happened to a girl on that lake. In July, I knew that in July, an 11-year-old girl had her foot and leg bitten severely. Same lake. There is a muskie, or there are several muskies in Island Lake that have developed a taste for human blood.
Come on. A muskie?
It had to be.
What is a muskie exactly? You're the big fisherman on the station.
Latin name Esox masquinongi.
That's not what I wanted to know.
It's in the pike family, a large predatory fish with big, powerful jaws and razor-sharp teeth.
Predatory
eats fish.
Okay.
It'll eat anything that swims.
Not known to eat humans.
No, but it is the apex predator in the lakes where it swims.
Big?
They can get up to. They've been caught up to 55 inches, well over 50 pounds. So yeah, big. I mean, not normal. A good fish is a 40-inch fish. I think keeper size is 36 to 38 inches. But same lake, both young ladies both have their feet. So this is the kind of thing where, obviously, if that's some animal on land, they track it down and they shoot it. But there's nothing you can do because it's a big lake, and you can't like boom shock the lake and pick the one that swallowed the ankle bracelet or whatever it is. But I just think this is crazy because it's not really supposed to happen. It's unbelievably unusual.
Is it possible they're attracted to the shiny anklet and don't even know that it's
Of course.
It's a human that they're...
It happens all the time with reef divers and barracuda. Barracuda also have similar in size to muskie with big sharp teeth that sometimes if they catch a glint of something that they think is a sardine and it's your bracelet or your watch, they might grab you, but that's the only time you got to worry. It's just for it to happen twice in the same summer in the same lake is bizarre.
So what's the solution? Don't swim with an ankle bracelet?
I guess. I think you should be aware that if you have a jewelry on and the lake has muskie in it, you might be increasing this infinitesimal possibility of it happening by doing that. And that's your public service announcement for today.
So I had heard a few weeks ago that if indeed Jeter's group got the team in Florida, that they might be looking to move Giancarlo Stanton. So I'm not surprised to hear that making the rounds now, that that's a possibility, that they might be cutting payroll and that he might be available. There are people who have been around that franchise for a while who don't buy into the whole Giancarlo Stanton thing. Even before he went on this extraordinary barrage, he had been pretty much a guy who was dedicated to hitting home runs and not doing much else. Mm-hmm. I think to an extent this year he's been a better player than that he's done more than that. But in any case, John Heyman posted a piece today on FanRag where he ranks the teams he thinks might be most interested in Giancarlo Stanton. I don't know if these first two teams have what it takes to get him in a deal, but the Giants are number one. They obviously need power. The Cardinals are number two. That's a team desperate for a presence like that in their lineup.
Can they afford a $300 million
That's not really been their thing.
Right.
But they've also missed out on a lot of free agents when you think about the guys they've been unable to sign, including their own guys like Pujols and Hayward.
By the way, Stanton's a 6-WAR player this year per Fangraphs to this point. And his slash line is 282, 378, 645. With a 416 weighted on base average and a weighted runs created plus of 160.
I don't really know why anybody pitches to him. I guess it's a pride thing, but apparently they continue to do it. The other teams, the Phillies are third. They would have the players. He then speculates about the Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, and Angels. The Yankees don't make a lot of sense because they're really planning for the free agent class of a year from this winter.
You always got to consider the Angels, don't you? Talk about track record.
Yeah. And sure be nice if Mike Trout had somebody else to play with. But the Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, the Dodgers actually have plenty to get it done, and they don't care how much money they spend. Anyway, I thought that list was interesting.
That's in other news, brought to you by Indeed.com. Are you hiring? Join the over 3 million businesses that use Indeed.com for hiring. Post your next job opening on the world's #1 job site, Indeed.com. That last bank of Bears calls was a thing. And we were I think Shep said, they haven't played yet. They haven't taken the field yet. And already the Bears' lunacy is out there. It's lurking underneath the surface, just waiting. It's sort of like the supervolcano of football. Stupid. I mean, it's just
the scientists, they're meddling, Dan. I'll tell you about it.
Meddling with what? The Bears?
No. Well, they might be. Might be mad scientists.
You're not going to rule it out.
No, the scientists are meddling with the supervolcano. I'll tell you about it.
It's like actually like seismically meddling.
They're planning things.
All right, I never know where you're going with this, but we'll allow some latitude, counselor. Barry Rozner believes that the bubbling caldera, the supervolcano underneath Yellowstone Park, is going to erupt in time to kill us all and save everything.
Certainly been my hope.
Yes.
And the supervolcano was going to get my vote.
It was your candidate for the election until you jumped ship for the sweet meteor of death.
Well, we just didn't have the the math didn't work. We just didn't have the votes at the convention.
You're a pragmatist.
Yeah. So
You're an apocalyptic pragmatist.
So I went with the sweet meteor of death. To this point, no sign of the sweet meteor of death. So the good news is, this is really exciting. There's been a swarm of earthquakes in Yellowstone, and there's growing concern again about the supervolcano, which, if it goes off, if it explodes, will be the end of mankind. You'll be killed in some horrific fashion.
Okay.
not the least of which would be breathing in large shards of glass. Ash that's heated to a point where it becomes glass and is spread all over the world, and you'll breathe that in and die.
It's better than a Bears Monday.
Well,
right?
Got one of those coming,
yep.
Unless this happens soon. Here's my concern. NASA researchers say siphoning heat from the Yellowstone caldera could lower the risk of a deadly eruption while generating electricity. They have a plan. They have the rough outlines of a plan. They say would not only spare us from a deadly super eruption, but also turn the Yellowstone supervolcano into a source of electric power. Here's my feeling on that: is mind your own damn business. Okay, it's not your concern. People just don't know when to leave well enough alone. Is my feeling on this.
I'm just picturing a guy with those handheld ice augers that ice fishermen use.
There's one guy
to drill the. Okay, Steve. Yeah, right there.
We think it's going to work, but we want you to go first.
All right, just start with the thing, and we'll watch. Okay. And he just kind of starts with the hand auger standing right over the middle of. How's it going, Steve? Good. I think I might have hit a rock or something. No, keep going.
And he's vaporized.
You're good. We should have thought this through.
Okay, maybe this isn't going to work after all.
I like it. It's an ambitious idea, though. But this is you're talking about messing at all with the supervolcano. It sounds like what I do with a wasp nest, where I know it's probably going to end up being messy. Things aren't going to go as planned, but it's just for my own entertainment. And I'm going to get my tennis racket and a stick and a can of whatever is lying around and have at it.
Remember the big, oversized wiffle bats? Did your kid ever have one of those?
The big one, no.
I had girls, so it was a big pink, fat wiffle bat.
Oh, I remember
3 times the width of a regular wiffle bat.
Yeah, but then the kid thinks he's good, and you got to be in the basement like with Matt Caesar as a kid, throwing bottle caps at him, making him hit it with a broom handle.
Very effective for swatting wasps, though. Very effective.
No, it's not. Not compared to a tennis racket.
Tennis racket has got holes in it,
but it moves. You can't miss it. Even if it's got a hole in it, but you'll look and the abdomen will be stuck in there.
That's what they tell you when you buy it, is you can't possibly miss the ball with this.
Well, you can't miss a wasp or a hornet with a tennis racket. A big oversized head, whatever it is, Pro Kennex, whatever it is. A wiffle bat, first of all, the air resistance. You're pushing air with it that can then push the insect away before you make contact.
It's really fun, though, to squish them with that thing.
Not as much fun as you hear that little ding. And then you have the stick, because then when you knock that out of the way, then you smack the nest with a stick.
Well, the other thing you do is once everyone goes inside and your wife's not there anymore to tell you can't spray those awful chemicals everywhere, you go back with 2 cans of Raid and you just kill them all.
Oh, the chemicals are part of it too. So you have to drink up their screams as they writhe and die on the asphalt. That's the joy of it. You actually gain life. You suck away their life existence as you hear them writhe in pain as the permethrin soaks into them and kills them.
Is that real? You could actually hear them?
Oh, I can. Oh, yes. Oh, I can hear them scream. Yes.
Like a bear's collar you've hung up on.
No, you
can hear
as they're knowing the people that they were going to sting just because they're a-holes. But they can't now because they're gripped by the icy hand of death. All right, the texters are awesome today. First of all, 708, Ned Yost does not approve of Dan's bee genocide. Not bees. I love bees. Bees are awesome. It's the wasps and the hornets that are my sworn and mortal enemies.
What purpose do they serve?
I've heard arguments that they pollinate or they eat caterpillars or whatever. No. Their purpose is to be a-holes.
It's to frighten children.
Need to go. And this one, the texter from the 847 says, will they have a tennis racket out there with them at Yellowstone? So, yeah, Steve with the ice auger is also getting a tennis racket. Just, take this too. It gets a rolled up newspaper.
As long as you're out there, swat that hornet's nest down, would you? Knock it out of the tree.
Keep drilling. Just have that tennis racket nearby, because if you set off the supervolcano, you're going to need it. And another 847, killing bugs with a creme brulee torch. Ooh. Ooh, yes. 815, I saw a movie. Oh, it's Trash Can Man. He says, I saw a movie about what you're talking about, using molten lava for energy. It used to get played on family classics. It was called Crack in the World. I'm Fraser Thomas. I would tell you about Crack in the World. Check this out. Yeah, check this out, too.
Geothermal energy into electricity.
Yeah.
You know, under other circumstances, I'd be fine with that. I would find that to be creative. In this case, I say mind your own business.
You don't want the power drained from the supervolcano. The eruptive force taken away to power somebody's electric car.
Could be our Pompeii, or not Dan Pompei, our Pompeii, or our Krakatoa.
East of Java. Tim and Valpo, you're on the score.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Okay.
I just picked up a tennis racket. Instead of string, it has metal wire, and it's also a bug zapper.
Oh, no. Those are too small. Those are way too small and too flimsy.
No, it works. I mean, dude.
Yeah, for mosquitoes, maybe.
Racket.
Yeah, but no.
It's the size of a tennis racket.
It's the actual size of a tennis racket?
The exact size of a tennis racket.
See, I don't need the zapper part of it.
But I mean, it is kind of cool because it makes you feel even better when you're killing them.
Well,
Boy, this show is taking a dark turn.
You know, I can appreciate that. And actually, this time of year, I think the last couple of days, they're probably gone now. But have you seen the cicada wasps?
Oh, yeah. They're pretty huge.
They are enormous and apparently not dangerous to humans. Apparently, they can even be handled. And if they're not handled roughly, they will not sting you. But I cannot get past that. If you handed me one of those cicada wasps and said, you can let this thing walk up your hand, I don't care how much money you gave me. I don't care what reassurances. It's sort of like when somebody takes a leadoff against John Lester. He's not going to throw over. Right? He's not going to throw over. And
it's
yet,
the size of a Volkswagen.
Yeah, no,
I'm not touching one of those.
Cicada wasps are, and they have a burrow in the ground, and the female will sting a cicada, bring the cicada back to the burrow, lay her eggs in the cicada, eat some of it, and I don't know where they go. They all go party somewhere. I don't know. But those are nasty.
We're about due for the invasion of the Yellowjackets, right? Those little tiny, real nasty things that
Yellowjackets. Well, they're always around.
But they come out in the fall specifically. Like I remember when I was a vendor, that they were always around when you were selling.
When did you vend into the fall?
In
Chicago baseball.
In September?
Okay. All right. All right.
By the middle of September, late September, there's always we were always getting stung by those things. And it wasn't happening all summer before that. For some reason, they seem to be out.
Yeah, I would think if you're also walking around with a tray of
Coca-Cola
exactly,
or Budweiser.
Right. They're going to find you, and they're going to say, oh, yeah, that's the guy carrying all the stuff. Go get him. I don't know if it's a fall thing. You might be making that up.
I just know that I never got stung during the summer, but I always got stung in September.
Anecdotal. I need to see the insect metrics on that. I hate when Barry Rozner's right. It bothers me. But you're right. I thought that your belief that you've had more Yellowjackets around you in September was probably wrong. But according to...
My proof was not enough for you. You didn't feel like that was provable.
There are many texters that are backing you up. 815 texter says, here's what happens. They multiply over the summer, so by September, a nest can contain 1,000 versus, say, only 10 or so in late May. The queens leave. They find a place to stay warm for the winter. The rest of the hive is then left to fend for itself. They die off when it gets cold enough, but in the meantime, they fly around looking for food. And another texter said their food sources are less when the fall comes. So that's why you notice them everywhere, and they're menacing you.
They're mean. They're really mean. They look like little bees, but they're not. They're little wasps.
Correct.
And they're angry.
Of course they are. Because they're a-holes.
And what purpose do they serve?
Nothing other than to get on the inside of your can of soda or whatever it is and sting you in the lip.
Yeah, you can't have your kids outside during school with any sort of food or drink or anything, or at a picnic or anything like that, because they'll be right there. They will sneak into your pop.
Yeah, I hadn't really noticed it before, but I guess I imagine that you are correct. You probably noticed it when you were walking around and things. And
I used to get stung in the hands all the time because you don't see them, and you go to grab a beer can to pour it, and you get stung.